So I was like, Rob, let's hang out. And then Rob gets here and he's like, what's up? And I was like, hey, I got a crazy idea. What if we do a nonprofit storytelling conference? And he's like, okay, let's do it.
Over the rainbow.
Hey, Storymakers, and welcome to a very special edition of Tellwell the podcast, where we're inviting some of our favorite storymakers to preview Well Told, the nonprofit storytelling conference, which is coming up in April right here in Fargo, but also virtually. So with me today, I have Matt and Rob. Matt and Rob are the CEO of DonorDock and the CMO of DonorDock, and they are helping us to produce it. They are behind they are the brain children, the brain partners, the thinking partners behind putting this incredible event together, because they know and love the power of story. So, guys, welcome to Tellwell the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Glad we're here.
This is the first three-way we've had on this podcast, and we're very excited about it.
Better way to say that.
There might be a better way to say it, but if you listen to Tellwell the podcast, they explain it. So, guys, I think just to start with, I would love to know just a little bit more about DonorDock. I think a lot of the folks that listen to Tellwell the podcast probably use it. I know we recommend it for our clients, but would just love for you to talk. Where did DonorDock come from? What do you do?
Yeah, so we are a CRM and marketing platform for nonprofits, and we started back in 2017, and really it came from, I'd spent a lot of years in the CRM space working with like large, enterprise style CRMs, Microsoft CRM, Salesforce, and we were trying to use that tool over and over again in like small to medium sized nonprofits. And we just kept seeing it over and over again fail. It was so complicated, so difficult for people to adopt and to use. And so I was with a Microsoft partner here in town and decided I wanted to kind of try and build something that was easier for small nonprofits to use and something that was cost effective. And so I bugged my friend Andrew, who you also know, my co-founder Andrew, and said, I have an idea here. And I showed him some thoughts and prototypes. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we started writing code nights and weekends. And he and I kind of built the product to get it off the ground. My wife runs a small nonprofit. So we had some like built in right there, somebody that was dealing with a lot of the same challenges that we were trying to solve. And June 1st of 2018, we launched the product to the market and had exactly one paying customer in the first month that we launched it, which incidentally is still a customer of ours today, which is CCRI in Moorhead, Minnesota.
We love CCRI.
Yeah,
they're a great story maker.
Great customer and just a great nonprofit. And so really that was the kind of guiding principle. How can we build something that is simple enough for small nonprofits to use, but powerful enough to help them actually get value out of it? The product has changed a lot over the last 7 years, as you can probably imagine, but we still try and maintain that concept of like innovation through simplicity. You don't have to always make every feature that you might think of, but where you can really innovate is taking things that are inherently difficult and complex and trying to make them easier for the end user. So that's kind of where it came from.
I love that. So funny story, maybe a funny story. Andrew's mother was my high school speech coach, led me to my first state championship in radio broadcasting. I didn't become a radio broadcaster, but we got a podcast out of the deal. So shout out to Mrs. Luchin. Big fan.
Yep.
Anyway, Andrew's great too.
He is.
Funny quick story about Andrew. One of the first times that I saw Andrew, I was in like 4th grade, and he was in the one-act play, and he was a turtle that was stuck on his back, and that was his like entire thing, where he's just like, help. And I don't know if you know Andrew, he's pretty dry.
He's
sometimes.
very dry.
So it's like help.
My wife is a person who really doesn't like dead air, and if you know Andrew,
Very
he's
comfortable
a
with
very like analytical person. And so like we would be driving and he would be on speakerphone in the car, and we'd be talking, and I would say something and he would just sit quietly, and my wife's like, what is going on right now? Like, she just couldn't handle it. I'm like, it's just how he processes. So.
We're going to have to get him on a future
that'd
episode
be good.
of Tellwell the podcast. So Rob, I'm curious, as we talk about like the future of DonorDock, where you guys are going, what's on tap? What are the new cool hip things that are happening?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So Matt hit it on the head with our goal is to innovate through simplicity. So we're not like, our goal isn't to add feature after feature after feature and turn it into an enterprise level piece that small and medium nonprofits can't afford. Our goal is to continue to innovate through simplifying what nonprofits need to accomplish, and doing that through feature sets that automate, that take their admin tasks and do it for them or serve it up for them, so they're not having to look through data and all that. So really our roadmap is about continuing to simplify the feature set that we already have, right? And we're adding new features. I shouldn't say that we're not, but we're also not saying like we're going after the enterprise level orgs. We're saying, how do we stay true to our core, which is the small and medium nonprofits, and what do they truly need? They need something that somebody that wears a ton of hats can jump in and out of and not have to juggle a ton of different tool sets. So like compiling those into one system, which is DonorDock, and being able to make things just work easily rather than like a complex system that takes a data scientist to understand and build reports. That's not us, right? Like we want to make it so they can click 2 buttons and they get the report that they need, that kind of thing. So that's our roadmap, is to completely continue to simplify.
And we're putting a big emphasis right now too on trying to meld methodology with the product. I think one of the things we see challenging a lot of these smaller and even like, that mid-sized nonprofit where you would think they have a lot of processes and things, is like you can give them a piece of software, but if there's not prescriptive methodology in how to use it, it becomes something that sits on the shelf. And so, we have our new methodology that we're rolling out called the Agile Stewardship model. It's really all about how to run your organization or the fundraising within your organization. Heavy emphasis on like defined donor journeys, like, when a person gives their first donation, what is the journey that happens after that, and how can the software kind of run that journey for you? So we've got 6 primary journeys that we're about to light up in the product, where they're just there. They're built for these nonprofits. They can tweak them if they want, but ultimately, like, the idea that I could turn it on and it's going to steward my donors and make sure that I'm doing the things I need to do. And then, like Rob said, automating the things that can be automated without losing the human relationship. So we're really excited about that. We think that kind of represents the next evolution of what we're doing, where it's not just about the technology, but it's also about how best to use it to really steward your donors in the most meaningful way.
Incredible. And is that what Bridget is talking about at Well Told?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. So we'll get a little bit more insight into that. So I'm curious. I had kind of I pestered Rob and I said, Rob, I just want to hang out. I just want to be friends. I just want to like hang out with you and see what cool things we can do between Tellwell and DonorDock, because we both have this like love and curiosity for these small and medium-sized nonprofits, and that's really where we're excited to be sharing the stories of, because we know like that can have just such a huge impact. And so I was like, Rob, let's hang out. And then Rob gets here and he's like, what's up? And I was like, hey, I got a crazy idea. What if we do a nonprofit storytelling conference? And he's like, okay, let's do it. And it was so fun, because there are a few people in my life that are like, what? And Rob's just like, let me think for a second. Okay, yeah, let's do it. And so I'm curious, and not to put you on the spot, but I'll put you guys on the spot. Why yes? And why such an easy yes?
To be honest, it's something that I've been thinking. So I joined DonorDock 2 years ago. It's something almost since day one. I was like, we need to create our own community, and we need to, like, there's so much missed opportunity to, especially in this region and nationally for virtual attendees. But there's so much need for I'll put it this way. What I'm really excited about with this event is that it's going to be workshops and intensives. It's not going to be your typical conference, which is you leave inspired. We want you to leave equipped and inspired, right? So like that's the piece that, as we go to other conferences and events, which are really powerful and inspiring for these nonprofits, a lot of times they don't leave with like frameworks and to-do lists that they can take home right away. And that's our goal, right? Is it's a 1-day intensive, which is they're going to leave with a binder or a PDF if you're virtual, and like you can take that home and start activating on it right away. So that's why I was like, yes, let's do this, and if we can make it that, I'm on board. So
heck yeah. I think like one thing that we've been talking about a lot is this idea of this conference is not your typical like inspiration porn, right? And that might also be a word that we don't use on the DonorDock podcast that we do sometimes use on the Tellwell podcast. But like, it is not that, right? We want this to be very practical. We want it to be very actionable. And that has actually thrown a couple of our speakers off in a really delightful way, because they're like, wait a second, I have to kind of like rethink what maybe some of these keynotes looked like, sounded like, smelled like, to say, how do I turn this from a 40-minute keynote of me just like waxing eloquently about whatever my latest theory is, to how do I take this concept that I have, that I feel very comfortable talking about, and make it really actionable. And I'm so excited about that. And I think you pushed us on that right away to make sure that we said we want it to be both inspirational but very actionable. And Rob is also the one who said, we need to make sure this is very accessible online. And so that has really been the foundation of all of the speakers that we've curated for this event, all the activities. So it's going to be a really incredible event. So Rob, smart cookie. You got a smart cookie over here.
Good partnership.
It is. It is good. So Matt, I'm curious, what are you excited about? Why were you like, yes?
Well, I think for me, outside of all the things you guys have talked about, because we do hear that a lot where people will attend these things and they're like, oh, I heard so many great things, and then I got back to my desk and like I don't know where to start with anything I just heard about. And so I love that part of it. I also think what really resonated with me was the local aspect of it. So, we started here in Fargo, North Dakota, and built this product we have customers all over the country now. But being able to really lean into our local nonprofits, and these are the people who helped us get started, like the CCRIs, the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center. I mean, we have so many customers here that took a chance on like a product that didn't, when we first launched it, it didn't do a whole lot. I mean, you know what I mean? It was very basic. And they said, yes, we're going to try this. And most of them are still with us here 7 years later. And to be able to put an event on that I think will be very valuable for them, and to have that local piece to it, that really resonated with me a lot.
I love that origin story and just the inspiration of these folks like believing in you, maybe even before you believed in yourself, and then like sticking with you, because that is the origin story of Tellwell as well, where we started with FirstLink 10 years ago, before we were even an organization, and they believed in us and they continue to believe in us. And I think that's one of like the incredible things about this community that I'm excited to welcome all of these national speakers into, that they get to see the energy and they get to see the inspiration and they get to see the innovation that really happens in these Midwest communities where a lot of people sleep on them, but not us. We love Fargo.
Well, I was shocked when I first started looking at building DonorDock. There's like 1,800 nonprofits in Cass and Clay County alone. And so you think about like the good work that's being done just locally here and regionally here. And it's a really inspiring group of people, the do-gooders in this community. And so being able to bring them together and hopefully provide something that's very valuable. Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. All right. Final thing. One thing that I'm a little bit scared about, and one thing I'm very excited about with Well Told, the nonprofit storytelling conference. Who wants to go first?
One thing I'm scared about. Well, I mean, we've never put on a conference, right? So thankfully, we have an amazing partner we're doing this with your team. You guys have been amazing to work with thus far, and coming up with the agenda and the logistics and all the different pieces.
We can really just thank Annie Wood. I was like, we're doing a conference, and she's like, what? Okay, let's go do it. And so she is the mastermind behind that part.
Yeah.
We have Annie.
But I think it's actually, making sure that we live up to what we say we're going to do at this conference, which is provide them actionable things that they can walk away with and really get value out of quickly. So that's something I think we need to make sure we do that. The piece that I'm really excited about really is being in the same room with all these local nonprofits and all in our partners. We have John coming from We Are for Good. We have so many great people who are going to speak and provide insights to these organizations. But just being in that space with such great change makers, I think that's what's got me most excited.
Oh, those are good.
I know this is going to sound markety, but I'm still going to say it. I think I'm scared that we're going to run out of space.
Oh,
right. So
I think we are actually.
Yeah, it's capped at 150 people. I think we're already 100 people.
Yep.
And so virtual is definitely the way that we can make sure that it's accessible still. But if you want to come in person, get a ticket now. And so I'm a little bit, I wish that we could get another bigger venue, but I'm also excited to be at the Plains Art, which is a nonprofit here in town. So what I'm excited about is hearing from some of these great speakers. Matt mentioned John. He's a good friend, and so getting to meet him in person for the first time, I'm stoked for that. Who are some of the other speakers that we're doing?
So we have like Lisa Nelson Haynes, who's the Chief Program Officer for StoryCorps. We have John Lepp, who is one of the founders of Agents of Good. We have Patrick Kirby, who we all know and love from
Just
Do
saw
Good
Patrick
Better.
this afternoon.
And Bridget is going to be speaking as well. And Janice Evans, the founder of Brain Noodling and Strategic Toolbox. So we have an incredible speaker lineup.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear from all of them.
So my scared and my excited. I don't want the scared to give away too much, but I don't really like magicians. And I'm told that there might be one that makes an appearance. And so if it does, I will probably not be in that room. Now, TBD. But what I'm really excited about is, and this might sound a little self-serving, I am so excited that so many people have believed in this concept and are so excited about it. When we talked to Jill and Jaquel from Ronald McDonald House Charities, they're like, yes, first ones to sign up, right? And Anna and Jody from Rape and Abuse Crisis Center, formerly of CCRI, just all of these incredible organizations that almost just blindly say, yeah, we're in, we're going to do it. And honestly, to have you guys there as well really gave me a lot of confidence to say like, oh, wait, we can do this. And with your guys' help, we've been connected to so many great organizations and so many great sponsors who believe in this mission and believe in the power of storytelling to make real change in the world. So those are mine. So if people want to engage with DonorDock, you guys have a couple of different ways to engage. How do you do that?
Yeah, you can find us on most social channels. You can head over to our website, DonorDock.com. If you're looking for, we've got a podcast that Matt puts on that we bring on some industry experts twice a month. And so you can look at that. And we've got articles. So head over to our website for free resources and tools as well.
Awesome. And if you have not yet registered for Well Told, the nonprofit storytelling conference, go to welltoldconference.com. If you use the code podcast, it is going to take you all the way back to early bird pricing, which means $200 off in person and I think like $170 off of virtual. So it brings it all the way back to $97, which is just a silly price, because just earlier today, Patrick Kirby told us that everybody is walking home with a copy of Fundraise Like a Fifth Grader, his new book, which is not even out yet. And Janice Evans from Strategic Toolbox is including a pack of brain noodling cards for everybody. And so you're like, What the hell does that mean? But it will make more sense when you're there. So like, it's just an incredible deal. There is so many incredible speakers that are just going to pour their knowledge out, and I'm so excited for that. It is a heck of a deal. So welltoldconference.com. Use the code podcast to get back to that early bird pricing.
Awesome.
Matt, Rob, thanks for hanging out on Tellwell the Podcast.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see you at the Well Told conference.
Yeah, super excited.
See you there. Thanks for tuning into this special Well Told edition of Tellwell the Podcast. If you're ready to transform how you share your mission, join us on April 24th in person in Fargo or virtually for Well Told, the nonprofit storytelling conference where powerful missions meet masterful storytelling. If you're interested, make sure to use code PODCAST at welltoldconference.com to unlock early bird pricing. Whether you're a nonprofit leader, communicator, or mission-driven entrepreneur, this intimate hands-on experience will help your impact become impossible to ignore. Interested in sponsoring? Visit the website to see how you can support organizations working to grow and do the most good in our community. If you enjoyed this podcast, you'll love the in-person experience and the rest of the episodes in this special series where we're talking to all of the speakers and sponsors making this incredible experience a reality. When good work is well told, change becomes unstoppable, and we invite you to join us at Well Told, the nonprofit storytelling conference in Fargo, April 24th.